Ceasefire Monitoring Cell Supervisory Board, Chairman, Lieutenant General Amarjeet Singh Bedi hai aji koishe ki ceasefire agreement aru ceasefire ground rules Khan para kunnu ki Naga national groups Khan ke tax utha bole na hoele ba samaj ke diktari diya kam kuri bole eku poribondo nai di. Aji sum, 3rd August 2024, talaga office te ekta press conference kora somai, Bedi hai koishe ki government of India para pasta Naga groups NSCNIM, NSCNU, NSCNR, NSCN Khango aru NSCN Nikki logo te hi ceasefire to sign kuri rakhi ken ase. Tai hi koishe ki A2 agreement Khan to Nagaland te shanti anibol aru, Surkari aru Naga groups Khan khotapatra kore ke Naga political issue ek dusra upar viswas, respect aru ekta shanti abostha te khotom kori bole ase. June Group B ceasefire ground rules bhangai le sajai pabo koeshe. Aru ajikali jhamela chuli takat, Angami Youth Organization aru NSCN ke Khango Group majute, Bedi koeshe ki te CFSB meeting thaka homo te Khango Group para koeshe ki ta Khan tu KKB ruho firm laga Malik ke ruho ke death sentence aru capital sajay tu dibole mautak na hoy. Ta koeshe Khango Group para CFSB meeting te aswasan na hoele ba assurance dishe ki, ta Khan joldi para, evayo aru ke ruho logo te meeting kuribo aru A2 mamla tu milai logo. Khobar corner hai apuni Khan ke A2 news ani dishe aru ami Khan laga channel to subscribe, like aru share kuri ken hodai informed thaki bi.
The government of India has signed the ceasefire agreement with 5 Naga groups over a period of time, and these groups are NSCN IM in 1997, NSCN Unification in 2012, NSCN R in 2015, NSCN Khango in 2019, and the last one, which was NSCN Nikki in 2021. The ceasefire has been signed basically with the aim to usher in peace on the ground, so that the political discussions to resolve the Naga issue can move ahead in an atmosphere of trust, respect and peaceful conditions which are prevalent on the ground. The ceasefire, for the information of everybody, has been signed incorporating elaborate ceasefire ground rules. All the Naga groups who have signed the ceasefire agreement with the government of India have committed to adhere to those ceasefire ground rules. Also, side by side, as the ceasefire mechanism goes on, to facilitate the implementation of the ceasefire, certain instruments in the form of designated camps, some of the ceasefire offices and even ceasefire identity cards have been provided to these groups purely from the administrative convenience and administrative point of view, so that tasks related to the ceasefire mechanism and smooth follow-up of the ceasefire can go on. All these instruments and all these facilities which have been provided in no way, I repeat, in no way grant immunity to any of the groups to undertake violation of the ceasefire ground rules or carry out any unlawful activities. A ceasefire mechanism for Nagaland has been established by the government of India, basically to monitor and supervise adherence to the ceasefire ground rules. The ceasefire mechanism consists of representatives of the state government, Nagaland police, all the security agencies, the Ministry of Home Affairs, and also the ceasefire supervisory boards from all the groups which are in ceasefire with the government of India. I am the chairman of the ceasefire monitoring group and ceasefire supervisory board. As I said, since almost September 2000 for the last 4 years, and we see that the ceasefire ground rules are followed in letter and spirit by all the groups who have committed to the ceasefire agreement with the Government of India. Regular meetings of the ceasefire monitoring group and ceasefire supervisory board are held to resolve any differing perceptions or points of confrontation on the ceasefire ground rules between the two sides which are there. And also, in addition, our office, that is the ceasefire monitoring office, continuously monitors the adherence to the ceasefire ground rules on day-to-day basis by both the sides, and we endeavor to resolve any conflicting situations as well as any differing perceptions between any of these parties also on a day-to-day basis. The efficacy of this mechanism can be judged by you all in terms of the peace which has prevailed in Nagaland, and for the last couple of years in terms of the resolution of any of the conflicting situation, so that they don't result into any violence and disturbance of the peaceful environment which is essential for carrying out the political negotiations to resolve the Naga issue. Also, I will now come down to the present imbroglio which is there with between NSCN Khango and some of the agencies or civil society organizations which has been on for the last couple of days. Though of course our office has not received any complaint from any of the parties, but we have definitely suo moto taken cognizance of all these media reports which have been going, and also some of the comments or issues which have been conveyed to us verbally by some of the parties which are there. The issue has been continuously monitored since it came out in the open media from the outset itself. The group, that is NSCN Khango, which is in ceasefire with the Government of India, has been held accountable to all the ceasefire ground rules which they have committed to follow, and in writing they have conveyed to our office. I have the written submission to all the queries raised by us that their group runs on purely voluntary contribution, and their statement to apprise one of the affected parties of this complete conflict of the certain provisions of the Hijabo or the constitution which they follow may have been misconstrued as a life threat or a capital punishment. It is not their intention in any way to violate any of the ceasefire provisions, and in a written submission to our office, they have committed themselves once again to adherence to all the ceasefire ground rules. Meeting of the larger Ceasefire Supervisory Board, consisting of representatives of all the agencies, that is the state government, the security agencies, the NSCN Khango group which was there, was also held today morning here at 11 o'clock, and the group in front of the larger forum also has once again committed themselves to adherence to the ceasefire ground rules, and have also assured the larger forum that this issue will be resolved by them in very early time frame. We have urged from our side and that this issue must not linger on, because it is in no way helpful to any of the parties, and they have committed to resolve this issue at the earliest. the issue will be regularly monitored, and we will see that the group continues to adhere to their commitment in the form of all the points of the ceasefire ground rules which they have agreed to. The ceasefire mechanism functions as a collective forum. While I may be the chairman of the ceasefire mechanism, I work as a chairman of a body which consists of members of various agencies out here, and it is a collective forum which strives to see that all contentious or conflicting issues relating to the ceasefire mechanism are resolved in an amicable manner, and the underlying principle always remains with us in this larger forum to also see that peaceful conditions continue to prevail in Nagaland, so that the political negotiations do not get disturbed, and they can at least go on in an environment of mutual trust and peaceful environment, so that solution to the whole problem can be found at the earliest. One of the clauses of the ceasefire agreement says the NSCN Khango would refrain from blockade of roads and communications and from any activity which would disturb the functioning of local and state governments and of economic or development activities as well as essential services. Another clause also says the NSCN Khango will refrain from extortions, forcible collections of money and supplies, and intimidation of individuals, including government officials. So these are the provisions of the ceasefire ground rules which are there, and let me assure you, we hold all these groups accountable to their commitment in all these provisions which are contained in the ceasefire ground rules. And in this particular incident also, NSCN Khango has been held accountable to violation of some of the ceasefire ground rules, and that is why they have in writing committed to us, and also committed to us that it is not their intention to issue out any threats or anything to anybody which is there. It may have been misconstrued, and they will endeavor to resolve the issue at the earliest in conjunction. Ultimately, I do agree it's a problem which has to be resolved by the people amongst themselves. But since the groups are accountable to the ceasefire mechanism for the ceasefire ground rules which they have committed to follow, they have been held responsible for those, and due to the efforts, I'm sure they will get in touch with the responsible people and resolve the issue at the earliest as to the satisfaction of all the sides. The Government of India accepts the ceasefire ground rules which has been signed. It is very clear that what Government of India has committed to in the ceasefire ground rules and the ceasefire agreement between both sides. So let's restrict ourselves to these ceasefire ground rules to which both the parties have committed. While they may be following their own jejabo or anything, but if there is a violation of the ceasefire ground rules which they are committed to following, then that we consider it as a violation of the ceasefire ground rules, and the group will be held accountable. I am not aware of their jejabo, what does their jejabo say or anything, because I am only mandated in terms of these are the guidelines between the Government of India and the group. How does the group function internally? That is the business of the group. I have nothing to say or comment upon that. What we are concerned about is the commitments in terms of the ceasefire agreement which has been signed by the two parties to take forward the political negotiations, and we will adhere to the provisions of the ceasefire ground rule, and so does the other group. Their internal mechanism I am not competent to to comment upon them. That is their business, how they run their organization. If anybody does indulge in unlawful activities, there are participants in the ceasefire mechanism. The DGP is a part of the mechanism. The state police is a part of the mechanism. The state administration is a part of the mechanism. The security forces are part of the mechanism. And while some of the cases may have gone unactioned up till now because the investigations are on, but majority of these instances, I'm sure the police is carrying out the investigation wherever things have been brought or FIRs have been lodged, and in due course of time the lawful action will be taken. There are a number of cases when you would say the police every day gives out the details of people arrested. You also can see the data of the police records, how many people with all the weapons indulging in all the activities who have been arrested, violating all these provisions. But every complaint, every issue requires thorough investigation. There are issues because after all the force of the law also can be brought about only after thorough investigation of an incident has been done, and since the administration, the police is part of the mechanism, they are undertaking actions on the whole. I have had a meeting with the group and also held them accountable and also told them to resolve the issue at the earliest, which they promised that they will resolve the issue. After that, only once I got their response on 31st of last month, today we have held the meeting of the larger forum for resolving this issue. Meantime, we've also, in terms of been in touch with some of the parties involved in the incident to get their pulse as to what is the kind of interaction, because everything to our knowledge is only through the media and only through the written reports what is being floating around in the media. The procedures required we ascertain the veracity of those reports also, and that's why the procedure we have to get the response from the group also, and only once the group conveys to us their written response, what is the details of the incident, that further action can be taken. And that is how, after their response was received from the group, that a larger meeting of the forum was held today. But I would only like to assure you that this office is proactive in terms of any information or any issues which are brought to its notice. Because one of the challenges which I've been enumerating and telling is what we face is the lack of people. I would also, through this medium, request everybody that if there is any ceasefire ground rules violation in their perception on all these issues, to bring the issue to our notice so that proper action can be taken on the subject. But whatever has been brought to our notice, whatever we have taken suo motu cognizance of, none of the issues have been left. We have been able to take action and take the procedures forward, either in terms of action by the police on that subject, or by holding the group accountable in terms of that action. If there are two agencies which are having a little bit of misunderstanding or misperception, we will definitely hope that these two parties meet and resolve the issue. After all, they are representatives of, like all you said, the Naga community which is there. They are not representatives of the government of India. They are representatives of you all people who are there, and I'm sure they will resolve the issue by interacting with each other. This is perceived as a violation of the ceasefire ground rules. That is there. We are definitely concerned with the violation of the ceasefire ground rules, and we have also given out an option if our good officers are required to resolve this issue between the two parties. We are always there to offer our services to have or facilitate interaction so that the issue is resolved amicably.